And the other thing was IBM was great for the think tank. About 1 day a week you would spend in some kind of external expert lecture. We had a psychologist come in and give us an all-day lecture talking about method of loci and how to do this. And I thought, yeah, he's right. We need to figure out ways to amplify the human brain because we deal with complexity. And we try. Software engineering is really about that. We try to encapsulate data high, complexity high. One of my levels of abstraction, we build tools to do that, methodologies. And he came up, he first introduced me to something that I've done a lot of reading about. I call it the conceptual limit of 7 plus or minus 2. I would submit to you that pretty much all of software engineering and engineering is about that magical number of 7 plus or minus 2. Everybody know what that is? The human brain can hold in short-term memory 7 plus or minus 2 things. Really brilliant engineers and programmers tend to be able to hold 9. The problem with that, there's not that many really good engineers and programmers. And if you're going to communicate to the bright guys, the really smart guys, and the rest of the organization, you need to kind of whittle that down to 5. Because organizations are necessary. I worked for Litton Industries, and I suddenly had a thought. I looked around and I thought, this is stupid. This is just plain stupid. This place runs at 20% efficiency. What the heck's wrong with it? And later on, when I got older and wiser, I realized that was pretty good. Any really large organization that could run at 20% efficiency was going to make a lot of money. That they were really doing good. They were well run. But that was probably the overall efficiency. Hey, a power plant only gets 33, right? 2/3 of the energy goes out the stack or back into the ocean or the water. So sometimes low efficiency is as good as you can do. And that's engineering. We recognize that. And I realized that we need the tools to do this. Because it's no magic, because everybody said, how can you get stuff done? And I said, there's no magic to this. You have to have a methodology. 3 things matter. Process, process, and process. And there's no magic button that you're going to push, and the job's going to get done, and everybody's going to tell you how smart you were. It just don't work that way, people. The stuff we're doing is really hard. And most of the time, people fail. It's the reality. We had some pretty smart people recognize this, like Thomas Edison. When it was 600 light bulbs, one worked finally. You work hard. And we need all the tools we can get. I kind of got into I'm not a big fan of Agile. I think it's a great way to get version 1 out the door and close the company doors on version 2. In my opinion. Learn from hard years. I'm an old guy. I have a right to my opinion. I've paid in blood for that wisdom. And there's a lot we need to do somewhat differently, I think, and we're not doing it. I look around. I'm a software user. How many people like Lion? You like it?
I love it.
I hate it. It's 3 times slower. They break the paradigm, just like they did with Linux. They think doing something new for the sake of doing it new is good. Well, I'm sorry. I love my iPad, but my desktop is not my iPad. And it's 3 times slower. It really is. I need to upgrade. I'm not like Yuri who has to do demos all the time. I have a 4-year-old MacBook Pro. It's really slow. I look at I watch all the products I buy go from version 13 to 14 to 15, and they're getting worse. So we're doing something really wrong, and we need to turn it around. I view what we're doing as things to visualize. How to break that barrier of 7 plus or minus 2. How to not forget what we did wrong last time. And how to communicate to the rest of the organization what we do. We never do that very well. No Magic doesn't do it well enough either. Sometimes I think we are idiots, but we're not as big idiots as the other guys. We got to constantly strive to do better. The day you say, I'm doing it well enough is the day you've lost. You always, and I think we do it very good. We hold on to bright people. We have a lot of advantages going for us. We go around the world finding those smart people. And they're not where everybody thinks they are usually. You know, you want to be a contrarian sometime. But if you think about it, man walked out of the trees, walked on the plain, stood erect so he could see farther. And we're visual creatures. We need schematic languages to do this. We need things that take the blinders off of us. And we live in a much more complex world. Look at it from the 1950s to now. Cary Grant doesn't walk to the airport, hand him cash, hand him a suitcase, and get on the airplane anymore. It's not fun. You guys, when you were kids, did you all enjoy flying a lot? Did you look forward to Mom taking you on that airplane? Yeah. How many people like flying now? You're nuts. You're obviously a masochist. You know, I mean, it is. It's a torturous process. And what I'm trying to do is make your life less painful with no magic. We really are. We're sincerely looking for that. We're trying to find a way to simplify things and to extract the essence. I make a lot of mistakes. I'm a pretty dumb guy sometimes. I'll tell you a little secret. The biggest mistake I've made in my technical career was naming Magic Draw. I hate it now. I hate it. And I can't change it. I'm stuck with it. You're stuck with your mistakes, people. You better do it right the first time. Because I went to Rational and I said, you know, we're a little company. We need 5 copies for Unix and 5 copies for Windows. 1 copy is what, $8,000 you said? And they said, yeah. And I said, how much is 5 and 5? 10 copies? Well, that's easy. 5 times $8,000 and 5 times $8,000. You can write something. All I need is something to draw my pictures with. Well, of course, UML is a little bit more than drawing pictures. As a matter of fact, one of my biggest gripes, I read a lot of the support emails, see the problems the customers are having. And they're always writing into my technical staff, saying, I can do this with Visio. Why won't Magic Draw let me do that? Well, Magic Draw complies to standards. You know, Magic Draw has MetaModel support, so you don't draw Escher drawings. And I got into Scott Amber because he said, well, you do need UML, but all you need is a pencil and paper. He's changed his mind on that, by the way. You know, we got in a big argument at one of the conferences up in Detroit one time on that. Gary was with me. But it is that kind of a thing. So what we're trying to do with Magic Draw really is give you something that amplifies your brain, that prevents you from making mistakes, eases communication, because no one guy in a basement writes the great software app anymore. It just doesn't happen. It takes a team. And you need standards, and you need communication. And you need to remember what you did. And I don't know about you, but I don't think all those congressmen and senators read that 7,000-page healthcare bill in 5 hours. You know, but corporate America, corporate world seems to think we're doing that. But we're giving you tools to capture a picture. We're giving you that Cameo suite that's an outline of something precious and important. Something to help you remember it. And that's where we can. So I will never make another Magic Draw mistake. Now it's Cameo because we want to capture the essential. I work with a lot of MBAs. A lot of people smarter than me. I'm an old guy now. I'm not that smart maybe anymore. But I look at a spreadsheet and I say, what about that? But the thing I constantly teach them is you don't think in a spreadsheet. You need a spreadsheet to check. You need the meta model to check. But you need to draw simple things, and you need to keep some things in your head if you're going to run a business or succeed at doing a project. And what we're trying to do is give you the tools. We're trying to do more complex things. We need to make it simpler. People still write us, I don't think our tool is simple enough to use. But we get fan mail saying, I love you guys because you're so simple compared to the other tools. You know, oh, no, we aren't. You know, we got to get better at that. We got to make it easier to learn. We got to get that message across more easily. So that's all I'm trying to do. I think we're running a little bit late too, aren't we? So I'll try to get out of here. Oh, I'm over my 2 minutes already. Anyway, I'll try to be, like I said, I'll try to be brief. Is there any questions from anybody? I started this thing 17 years ago. Nobody? Well, if you stop me in the hall, I don't talk as much as my brother now, but I still talk a lot. So thank you very much.